Hello and welcome once again to a Total War Saga Troy, this time from the side of Achilles, assaulting Troy, but being defended by Hector, of course. So, if you've watched my last video, you'll know the way I'm going to do this, and first I'm going to play a battle on easy difficulty with Achilles, and then I'm going to show you my replays of winning it on hard, and then another win on easy using a different strategy. But first, the actual battle with Achilles. So this time, before I actually jump into the battle, let me talk about Achilles' abilities real quick. So Achilles has Ares' damage, Ares' rage, which is damage, which gives him a ton of weapon damage, makes him unbreakable, but also makes him go berserk. He has the Cleave ability, which increases melee damage and weapon damage. He has the Terrify ability, which reduces melee defense and morale on an enemy unit. And then he has the Divine Challenge, which I talked about, which essentially lets him challenge someone to a duel and reduces their armor. And then his special ability is Blood of Heracles. This is the Blood of some guy, which gives him rage when activated. So it increases it basically passively increases his rage, although it's technically an active ability. So I guess it actively increases his rage for 45 seconds. So those are Achilles' abilities. I've totally just blanked out on the name. So we have a bunch of units here. We have quite a few Myrmidon units, which are really solid. The spear-fighting Myrmidons and the Myrmidon swordsmen. Then we have some pelagic Philesians and Philesian Marines, which I'm going to put behind. I'm going to use a different strategy here than I use in the other easy difficulty win, the replay that I will show you guys later. I'm going to park my javelin throwers down here. I'm actually going to do it like that. And then I'm going to park my cavalry all the way over here and my reinforced chariots all the way over here. I'm really excited to show you guys the effectiveness of chariots and cavalry on easy difficulty, because on hard they are no fun, as I talked about in the other video. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll put a link in the description. I definitely recommend watching that one first, because I talk about some stuff and then I'll talk about some other stuff this time, but both stuffs are important to know, I imagine. Anyway, let's jump into this here hill and forest, a forested hill some might even call it. And I'm going to start running my chariots around, and I'm going to start running my cavalry around as well. There's a nice little ravine here that we can run through essentially. It looks like perhaps my entire army is hidden right now. It certainly is. The only unit they can see is my cav, which is actually kind of unfortunate. Didn't expect that to happen. Maybe I should run out of the forest just to kind of be like, hey, I'm over here. They have some range units. They have Trojan slingers, which is interesting because as a player you don't get to use those. Obviously, I showed you guys both the hard and easy difficulty with Hector last video, and we didn't see the Trojan slingers at all. But they only appear playable for him on the easy difficulty, which is interesting. Anyway, so they've seen my army now, which is good. We're going to park back a little bit further now. So you can see also, I haven't even talked about the UI yet. Sorry, that was a sub just now. Let's do slow-mo for a second. So the UI, it actually shows it when I hover over it. So you can see unit health, morale, stamina, ammunition, vehicle health, and then status effects. So there's a couple different things there. I'm assuming, that little tooltip will not be in the final build. It'd be kind of ridiculous if that's just always there. You may even be able to turn it off in this one, but I actually couldn't, find a way to do so. But yeah, so these units actually have ammunition. The Myrmidon units have ammunition. There's so many different stats I haven't even looked at specifically yet either, but I probably will do when I'm looking at the replays here. Alright, anyway, let's go normal speed again. Let's get these guys into the slingers, and I think we're actually gonna... Actually, no, let's just let our boys chuck some jabs for now. Put you guys over here. We have some extra units as well. Alright, let's charge downhill now. Oops. And then we'll get, I should have used this earlier, start building that up, that's okay. There's our chariots right there. Cavalry is coming into the slingers very shortly. I totally forgot about you guys. Should probably start running them around now. Not that it really matters, because again, easy difficulty really is quite easy. Cavalry charging in. Quite effective, again, on easy difficulty. They certainly are. Actually broke them already. We broke a lot of things already. They do have a Minotaur, of course, so we gotta be careful. You know what, let's charge in there. The Trojan warriors are not particularly great. These guys, Trojan defenders, are a little bit stronger, and you got Trojan champions, I believe, as well. I'm not sure if they're in here, because again, this is actually really easy difficulty. Let's start sending you towards Hector. Let's use some buffs, because we need to use abilities to to actually get our Aristea thing up. There you go, we actually routed them in a single hit. That would not have happened on hard difficulty at all. In fact, you'll see how it doesn't happen on hard difficulty when we actually get around to playing that. So, I kind of want to use one more ability, that one. Use it on this unit here. Mostly, I just want to get abilities used so I can start using, or I can use my Aristea and then I can challenge him to a duel. That's my goal right now. We're messing up the Minotaur as well. Minotaur is quite effective. I didn't use my javelin in this at all, or at least not effectively. Definitely messed that up a little bit, but it's okay. I'll show you those. I'll show you proper usage of them once we show the replays, because I do actually use them quite well in the replays when I took my time and don't have to commentate at the same time. I'm actually not in a battle, so he's used here his Aristea right there. You can see the buff going up. I need to use another ability though before I can use mine, so I'm hoping that I can use Cleave, but honestly the game might end before that happens because we are absolutely demolishing everything, except for that unit right there. That one's demolishing us, I don't like it. Let's get our chariots in there as well. Again, these are the Trojan defenders, which are pretty good. 10 more seconds till I can use that ability if I have the rage, which I don't currently do. But again, I think he might just go before that even happens, although he is currently unbreakable. He's got like every single one of his abilities activated. Not quite sure how, because I definitely can't do that. I don't know how that even happens, but it's okay. Alright, I need 2 more to do this, and now I can challenge him once I have 50 more rage. So I'm just kind of waiting for that. Once we can use this, it's going to go up pretty rapidly. Then we'll activate this and then challenge him, and then we'll have our buffs during the duel, and his should hopefully run out by that time. I just need to hope they don't run out in the fact that he's going to break. Okay, so let's do this, and then we'll do that. Now his challenge to a duel. So now we're in a duel for the next 45 seconds, and he's not going to be able to go anywhere. It's a bit weird, actually, because in this game, currently the way balance is, Hector is actually better, quite a lot better than Achilles is. You can't beat him in duels, but you need to be, you need to prepare properly well for it. Whereas, of course, in the actual Iliad, I guess, Hector gets destroyed. Well, not destroyed. Hector gets beaten by Achilles in that duel. It's seen in the movie Troy as well. But yeah, in this case, Hector currently is better than Achilles. I talked in the last video about 2 classes as well. I talked about the fighter class and about the defender class that Hector is. But I never actually talked about the other ones yet, so I'm going to be doing that as well in a minute once we get to actually play. Is he going to die? He's got 300 HP left. He's got 1 HP left. He's dead. There you go. Hades has claimed the enemy hero, and there's victory. Took a little bit longer than it needed to, but that's okay. Right, so let me load up my hard replay, hard difficulty replay, and I'll show you guys that, and then I'll get to talking about some more stuff. Alright, so here we are in the Achilles hard difficulty battle against Hector. First of all, let me just slow-mo for a second so you can kind of see the difference. So in this case they have renowned archers, which are a lot better than the slingers they had earlier. And then they just have really solid units. So heavy Trojan spearmen are really strong. They have the champions of Troy, which are, I think, the best or the second best unit here. There's champions of Troy, and then there is Trojan defenders are okay. Hector's chosen, that one is really solid as well. You can see their HP is 12,000, which is insane. They have just ridiculous morale, a lot of different things. One thing I totally forgot to mention so far, which I actually not sure if I'll be able to show anymore, but I haven't mentioned this yet, and I definitely will. Certain units, especially spear units that have a shield and a spear, well, spear units usually have a spear. They actually have the ability in this game, I think you can see it here actually, one of these ones. 2-handed melee, yes, so they have an ability where you can put your shield on your back, which actually gives you a passive defensive buff from behind as well, which is interesting. Like shielded from behind, I think it's called. And it then basically makes them a 2-handed spear unit, which is really, really cool. I haven't talked about that at all yet. I should have mentioned that in the previous video, but I totally forgot. But yeah, they can basically become a 2-handed spear unit. It increases their melee attack, increases their melee damage, things like that, but it increases their speed as well, or reduces their melee defense. Again, I'm not sure if I used it in this battle, because I don't think I do, but it is something to keep in mind. Anyway, so let's go back to normal speed. So we only have, in this case, we have 2 Myrmidon units. We have a spear-fighting Myrmidon unit, and we have, should be over here somewhere, Myrmidon swordsman right there. I decided to put a couple units in this bush here. Again, this battle took me about 12 tries or so, so this was a very difficult battle on hard. So I tried everything. I tried that tactic I just showed you by just camping up here, charging downhill. Tried that like 3 times, and I couldn't make it work. I eventually just kind of tried this, and somehow it did end up working. I think the main reason it worked is because I managed to isolate Hector from his army. Hector is the deciding factor in this battle. Again, this information is probably useless to you, because I don't know if you're ever going to be able to play this battle. Probably not, unless it's, maybe a historical battle or something. But, so, because I already showed you the buffs that Hector gets, he has just insane amounts of abilities that buff his units around him, whereas of course Achilles just buffs himself only. But in a duel, Achilles still kind of loses to Hector because he's just that strong. So you can see the chariots charging in properly there against the Trojan warriors. I saw an opportunity. This is the kind of thing that I always feel like is a bit disappointing. I charge over all these units, they all fall on the floor and they all get back up again, or at least most of them do. I only killed 10 men there. Like, you see their health bar is so low, well not low, but they lost, 25%, and I only killed 10 men. It's just, I don't know. I never really liked that whole system, but anyway, that's not the point. Anyway, so I isolated Hector because he's all the way back here. This is the only reason I managed to win this one, because every single other time Hector just buffs his units so much, and it's absolutely insane, because his units are good enough as they are, or almost good enough anyway, and then with his buffs they just become so much better. Anyway, so I got my cav in the back of these archers. You can see how, again, this is hard difficulty. These are renowned archers, so they're not terrible. We got a full charge in there, and we only killed 10 or 11 dudes on the actual charge. And now we're fighting in melee against... actually, this unit Hector shows in there as well, so that was actually... I think I realized this after a couple seconds and get him out of there. But yeah, I didn't do a whole lot of damage against them. Bit of a shame. My javelins, in this case, actually did sprint arrow properly. I can get some good volleys in the back of all these units in a minute. You'll see all that happening. My flanking force, the Myrmidon swordsmen, the reason I wanted to put them on the flank and get them in first is because they are unbreakable. So they will hold this line for as long as they live, essentially, until they die, which is really, really solid. Hector's still all the way back here, can't influence the game by... finally, actually, I moved them away already, but then I forgot about them again. But yeah, he can't influence the battle by doing all those buffs, so... that was really, really good that I managed to get him all the way back there. I had these 2 units chasing that one, and I actually kind of left them to do so, or at least one of them. Because Hector and this heavy Trojan spear unit are really solid, both of them are. This is one of the better units they have as well. And I was like, well, you know what, if you want to keep chasing there, that's totally fine by me. The longer I can keep him away from the battle, the better. So you can see our javelins now finally get to fire in the back of these champions of Troy, and the guards of Troy, which are a little bit worse, I believe. We're doing quite a bit of damage. The javelins, unfortunately, don't have a ton of ammo, so they do run out fairly quickly. You can see this unit's only been firing for a little bit, and they're already out. This one took a little bit longer to get into position. And then this one, I believe I started throwing over here. The Minotaur, I realized in an earlier battle, he absolutely demolishes Achilles. Not even a challenge, he just destroys him. So the moment I saw that they were near each other, I was like, okay, Achilles has got to get the fuck out of there, because I don't want to lose him to this Minotaur again. The try I had before, I had him against him, and he just demolished me. So you can see, yeah, these guys, I decided, instead of turning back, I just kept running them all the way around. Hector's coming back, so I kind of figured, okay, I need to distract him with some chariots or something. I do believe I ended up running a javelin thrower into them, or into him, just to keep him away from the battle. One thing was a bit of feedback that other people mentioned as well, is that routing units don't seem clear enough to their routing. Like, there's this flag underneath them with the running dude, so I thought it was okay. I don't mind it too much, but I'd prefer it if it was white or something, just to make it a little bit more obvious, because I noticed myself constantly doing that, like dragging boxes around my units that are running. Like, okay, this unit, why are you over there? Oh, like, oh, he's routing. I didn't realize, that kind of thing. So hopefully they'll make that a little bit more obvious. But again, UI stuff, that's something they can all design still. That they're taking feedback on that, and I'm sure we're going to see changes to that over time as well. So I'm not really too bothered about that. Anyway, so again, keeping Hector away from the battle. There I send the javelins towards them, and I also had this unit here, which came back from routing, which I'm pretty sure I just sent at him. I want to just distract him for as long as possible, because as long as he can't buff all the other units, we're good. Javelin, or the chariots, you can see now these are regular chariots rather than reinforced chariots. They already have 230 kills though, so they actually are doing a lot better than I thought they were. I gotta be honest, I didn't realize they did that well. The Centaur warriors still running around. These guys were not as good. I don't know, stat-wise they seemed okay, but I just couldn't get any kills with them. But trying to pick off stragglers with them seemed like a good thing to do at least. You know, if you can't kill units by charging them in the back, then at least you may as well, you know, kill off stragglers, kill archers. Although again, you saw here a full-on frontal charge. They weren't braced or anything, and they barely took any damage. And that's an archer unit. It's a high-tier archer unit, but it's still an archer unit. I feel like it should have done more, taken more damage. You can see this ability, that's the Terrify ability that we used with Achilles, which is called Terrify. Actually, that's literally what it's called. And now I was finally able to start picking off units one at a time. So we got this one surrounded here, the Hector's Chosen, which is a really good unit. I think that might be the best unit they have there. But yeah, once we, you know, we can deal with that one pretty easily because we have got it completely surrounded, even if some of our units aren't great, like the Javelin Furs are in there as well. But we can get it surrounded. I send Achilles in there in a second once I realize it's not in melee anymore. And then we can pick off these units over here, and then I can finally, you know, wipe them out, essentially. And Hector is still distracted all the way over here. He's barely taking any damage, but I don't care about that. I just want him out of the battle, because even if he's the only person that remains in the battle, we can then just send everyone in. Achilles is still pretty healthy as well, so not really any huge problems there. But yeah, you can see, for example, this Myrmidon Swordsman, I talked about them early on, right? How they were going to hold the line until they died. They're still there. There's still 36 of them as well. So they're not doing bad at all. Again, this is the thing that I don't like about the Warhammer type of health system, is that this unit, if you look at it, there should be like, I don't know, if it's 120 men, there should be like 10, 15 men there, but there's 36, just because of the way the health system works. And I personally, just not a big fan of it, but, you know, that's the thing they decided to go for. And I know a lot of people do love Warhammer, so I can't complain. Here's another example of me just keeping running, because I could have turned around and attacked this Guards of Troy, but they're chasing me. Why would I do that? I could just keep killing this Champions of Troy unit, and my unit would lose against that one, even though they've got double the men. I hovered over this many times. I selected it, and then I saw this unit had like a red exclamation point over it, so I was like, okay, if I charge in there, I'll just go lose it. So might as well just keep chasing and have them constantly charging after me and not actually be a part of the actual battle. Works out totally for me. So we managed to rout Hector's Chosen here. And as I said, now we can start wiping out unit after unit. There's still a full unit of these heavy Trojan Spearmen. I think that's the unit that was chasing my two light swordsmen over here, and then actually followed me all the way there. And here's one of the light swordsmen right there. This is a light unit that is not very strong, but they're quite fast. And you can use them for, you know, things like that, distracting heavy units and things like that. So they have their uses. I just didn't think there was enough of a there wasn't enough to distinguish the classes, as I already talked about. Anyway, one thing I said I was going to talk about and totally forgot is the other classes. So there's 4 classes, as I said. There's the Fighter Achilles, there's Defender Hector, then there's also the Warlords and the Archers. So the Warlords are not very good in melee, but they have a wide range of campaign bonuses. That's actually all we know about them right now. They're probably best compared to a Commander in Three Kingdoms. Achilles is probably best or closest compared to a Champion in Three Kingdoms, and Hector is closest compared to a Sentinel in Three Kingdoms. And then there's the Archers, which are ranged heroes useful for damaging units and ranging and sniping other heroes. So they don't really have a comparison because there's no specific ranged character in Three Kingdoms, but still, they're essentially a fighter, but for ranged, I imagine. I think that's the way we should probably look at them. But we haven't seen those at all yet. We haven't seen any examples of those yet. We don't know any other heroes in this game. I do know there's 8 playable factions, which I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to say. I sure hope so. That was in the presentation. We weren't allowed to record the presentation or take screenshots, so I may have... I should probably check. But anyway, yeah. And I think that's it. So Hector ended up routing, didn't actually kill him, but that's all that mattered. We won, and this is my greatest achievement in... It's a Cadmean victory, which is actually... It's essentially Pyrrhic, but I think Pyrrhic came later, which is why they went for Cadmean. Anyway, this is my greatest achievement in a Total War game ever, honestly. I've never done a battle that many times before winning it. This is literally my crowning achievement. If someone ever asks me, what's the best thing you've ever done in a Total War game? Fucking, I beat the early access Achilles battle on hard difficulty. That's it, literally. Anyway, let's load up the easy battle, easy replay of the one I played beforehand, and then get my closing thoughts. Alright, so I went for a pretty similar strategy in this one to the hard difficulty win, although I did play this one beforehand, or like I won this one before I won the hard one. So I put all my units here. Again, this is smaller armies, of course. Put my my free javelin throwers here. I was a little bit worried they were going to find me, and then they would be kind of out there, but that worked out all right. So we got our reinforced chariots on the flank and our cavalry on the other flank, kind of running them around. I believe in the other one, I put them both on the right side. But again, I played this before, and I really like this strategy of running around like this. In some cases, I would distract some units, so they would be away from the battle line longer. But also, it would just get me behind the line, so I could charge their ranged units, in this case slingers, and otherwise it would have been cavalry. Cavalry. So our chariots got found. I do believe I end up charging in here. Let me remember, because it's been a while since I played this. But, well, a while. It was literally within 24 hours, because I still have access to the build, obviously. So it's not been that long. Yeah, there we go. We charged straight in there. Not a ton of damage. But, or, well, not a ton of kills, but a significant amount of damage. You can see the health ability from Hector going off immediately as well. Again, you can see the difference in length. This is about 5.5 minutes. Whereas on hard, I believe it took me 11 or 12 minutes or something along those lines. Trojan Warriors decided that it was a good idea to just go in by themselves, get absolutely wiped out by all of the ranged we have on our Myrmidon units, which are now basically out except for the spear fighting Myrmidons on the right flank. But a couple of units, the Pelagic Phalicians, Thessalians, sorry, and the Thessalian Marines in the little... this is long grass, I believe. This is a new feature. I talked about, you know, mud. I haven't actually shown you guys the differences because I can't select the unit and hover over it in a replay. But yes, they basically, this mud is really bad for heavy units, and then a little bit bad for medium units, and then not so bad for light units. Long grass you can hide units in, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty freaking clear. There's a bunch of spears sticking out, but it works apparently. We've still got the forest, of course. You can just hide in the forest, which also reduces range damage, which is good. Oh, yeah, I remember. I sent Achilles out because we were getting shot by ranged units, and I wasn't too keen on that, but I wanted to make sure I used the mud, because my units were medium and theirs were heavy, or some of them were at least. So I wanted to make sure I used the mud to my advantage, but I didn't want to just sit there getting shot, so I decided to charge Achilles up just to distract their archers for a little bit. And my javelins, I kind of pulled them out. Their armor was all over the place, so they're not really in the greatest position where I wanted them to be. But for now, we can start hitting the Trojan defenders here. Again, hitting them from the front is not as good as hitting them from the back, of course, but just do a little bit of damage in general. We got our chariots and cavalry around now, so they can start getting into those Trojans, or into the slingers. We also got our marines. The ones that I had here, I also had two of them over here, so they flanked around as well. You can see they were wiping out their lines. Again, easy difficulty was an absolute piss take, but hard difficulty was just ridiculously difficult. And it may not have looked like it, but please, please, for the love of God, take it from me. If I say it's difficult, it's probably difficult. I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but I'm a fairly decent... I'd probably say I'm, you know, a above average Total War player, the amount of experience I have playing the games. And if I say it was a difficult battle, then you better believe that it was a difficult battle. We also just murdered one of our own chariots, I just realized. I'd noticed that in the battle. But yeah, the Achilles one, everyone that has access to this build will agree it was stupendously difficult. Unbelievably so. If it takes me 12 times to do it, I'm just hitting him with jabs. I love it. He's just sitting there. Oh, destroyed another one of my own chariots. That's nice. Oh, the amount of javelins he's taking. I'm killing so many of my own dudes. There goes his Aristea ability. Cool effect when you activate it. He just destroyed one of my chariots. He's demolishing them. I didn't realize it was that effective at destroying chariots, to be honest. Still hitting him though. I believe I end up killing him with jabs as well, or maybe. At least I do a lot more damage to him with jabs. I end up taking these units away from here and just throwing more at him, I believe. Battle is almost over though. And that will be my thoughts on the game over for now as well. I'm excited to play the campaign. That's like the main thing about this that I could take away from this, is that while I wasn't a huge fan of the battles just because they're more like Warhammer than anything else, I really hope the campaign is going to be good, because the campaign is always my favorite part of Total War games. I like the battles, of course, but the campaign is just, you know, it's more important to me. These guys started charging me, and I turned my jabs around through one volley, and then they routed. Yeah, I just, you know, campaign is the most exciting part for me, and we've heard a couple of things like the new economy system, the different resources you get, things like that, and I'm excited for it. You know, it all takes place in Greece, and I guess part of Turkey, of course, because, you know, that's where Troy was. But yeah, it takes around that Mediterranean area. I think the map's going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to it. The game also looks good. Units, models, while I haven't looked at them too much, they look quite good. Oh, the audio is just cut out. We actually had that problem in this build. Again, it's an early access build. Stuff like that's going to happen. That's actually the slow-mo, this last couple of seconds where you fight Hector. But yeah, there's the game looks good in general. You can see, the unit details nice. It's not, it's nice and colorful. It's the Mediterranean. Look at this is a beautiful shot. Just like I just took a random look around, and it looks great. I really like the colors in this game. It's all very green and very well. Even though this is drab, but that's it's ground. But then you look at the green here. The city of Troy. I don't know if there's going to be different tiers of cities. Some people suggested maybe this is a lower tier and it's going to be more epic once it becomes bigger. I don't know if that's true or not. That was all like, just guessing. I think it looks pretty cool already. The walls are huge. It looks cool. I did say I was going to, watch the last couple of seconds of Hector's death. I think I end up killing him with jabs. Let's watch. I mean, he's right there fighting just against Achilles. Let's put the UI away and watch him die. He's got a bunch of jabs, not as many. Okay, there, that should be it, right? That volley right there. Yep, there he goes. Very honorable in a duel with Achilles. Oh my god, one was for his neck. Disappeared though. Anyway, there's also a cow on the battlefield apparently. So yeah, that was a Total War Troy Saga. Oh, sorry, a Total War Saga Troy. A very, very first look. I have no idea when we're gonna get more access or anything. Again, this is all we got. We got this battle from both sides on easy and hard difficulty. We didn't get anything else. We of course had, you could change the settings and all that. I haven't talked about that yet. The settings are very basically this Warhammer settings. I believe there's a special anti-aliasing setting in Free Kingdoms that wasn't in this one, because again, I'm pretty sure it's on a different version of the engine, on the Warhammer version of the engine. So that wasn't in this one, which is a shame. But the game still looks good. I'm excited for it. But again, I'm hoping the campaign is going to be good. I'm hoping balancing is going to be looked at a lot. But we've given them so much feedback about this that surely they'll take it on board. At least for an early build, I think it's just kind of wrong to make the battle so ridiculously difficult that a group of people that have tens of thousands of hours, hundreds of thousands of hours in Total War games combined can't win a hard battle with one of the characters. It's just kind of ridiculous, but again, it's gonna get better, I'm sure. It's a very early look, so I'm excited. Let me guys know what you think in the comments. Again, there will be one more video with an interview. I don't know when that's coming out yet. Again, I haven't had any embargo information on that yet. I haven't had the interview yet. That's in a couple of days after I don't have access anymore. But yeah, that is my first look. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, regardless of my mass ramblings. Again, I feel like this is the best way to just do it. I just want to get as much information out there as possible. And yes, so see you all soon for Total War Saga Troy. Goodbye.